Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hot Seat with Cognizant Clay. I am your host, Clayton Terrio. Today on the show, we have Kgothatso Montjane. Kgothatso is a professional wheelchair tennis player. She was born with a congenital birth defect and as a result had her leg amputated at age 12. She is currently the number 9 wheelchair tennis player in the world. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm well, thanks. And how are you?
Good. Thanks a lot for doing this, KG. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
It's I had seen your live on Paralympics last week, and I thought you seemed very down to earth and genuine. So I figured I'd give it a shot, and here we are.
No worries, man. Always happy to do things like this.
Definitely, and then well, for the disabled community, it's great to share stories, so it's a lot of fun. So, well, first of all, how's it going with you? How has COVID affected you in your training?
Yeah, man, it was really bad just to be out for like a good 4 months, because it was just one of the reasons why I didn't even go to the US Open because I didn't prepare enough. So it was quite tough to just like sit around and no income, stuff like that. But we have to soldier on. So, but I can't really complain because a lot of people were affected. So this pandemic, it was really just out of hand. So I had to figure out ways to survive, and obviously to just take care of the mind, because that was the most important thing during these difficult times.
Definitely, it's been hard on everybody, but like you say, it is what it is, and you just got to keep moving. So for my viewers, just I usually get this out of the way first, just to kind of get it over with. So you were born with amniotic band syndrome, which is a congenital disorder that affects the growth of your arms and your fingers, I believe. Um, and at the age of 12, you unfortunately had to get your leg amputated. Can you just explain just what challenges you're presented with due to your disability?
Uh, you know what? Like where I was born, it's more of the rural areas. The place is not even accessible. I don't know how to explain it to you, but it's just rural place. Where you don't get to actually move around because the place is not accessible. But what happened is that my parents took me to a special school. So when I get to a special school, it was, a much greater environment for me, because having to see other kids with disabilities, it helped me to actually settle in. But the challenge I was getting when I was out of school, when people keep looking at you, when people keep, saying shame at you, saying sorry at you, and you don't understand. As a kid, you don't really understand why people are saying all that to you. Because when I'm at school, I felt like I was living a normal life. But when I come back home, people on the street, they look at me differently, and they saying all those things. But I consider myself fortunate to have been to a special school, because it was a very accessible environment for me, a very positive environment for me to grow up in. Seeing other kids with disabilities, it really helped me to settle in, because I realized that we are all unique. So I would say, life started, being better when I was at special school, because that's where I even developed my confidence that, I'm as human as anyone, because everyone was just trying to live life to the fullest. So when I'm at that environment, I just felt like I was in a good environment, and it helped me go into university, because I couldn't see myself any differently. So I had to approach life in a very positive way, because I knew what is it that I can do, and I knew what is it that I can't do. So I couldn't let people get to me, even when they looked at me differently, or when I was in class trying to explain that I got a disability. So I managed to deal with that. So I would say being able to go to special school really helped me quite a lot.
Definitely, yeah. That sounds pretty rough in the part of South Africa that you're from. Like you said, there is no cities. It's very inaccessible. And how, as you got older, how did you overcome those challenges and stay positive?
Yeah, man, like I said, having to be at special school, you realize that, you know what, why should I hold back? Everyone is just trying to live their best life. No one is doubting themselves for who they are. So having to grow in that environment, seeing different people with disabilities doing different things, you cannot just hold back and be like, oh, I can't do this. So it actually
Hmm.
gives you like a push to actually approach the world with a lot of positive energy. So for me, having to accept myself for who I am, and having to have told myself that you are as human as everyone. You were born like this. This is your normal. When someone goes like, that's a normal person, that's a disabled person, that's your normal. You grow up knowing that you are like this. So having those things in my mind that my normal is unique, it actually helped me to actually approach the world. And I owed it to myself to actually prove myself every day that I can do this and that. I didn't have to wait for someone to tell me what is it that I can do and I can't do. So having that mentality of having to test myself on how far I can go, it actually helped me overcome a lot of, challenges. And also it helped me to actually just close up to what people really think of how I was. So it actually helped me quite a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, no, you're very true. It's very true what you're saying. It's just you got to accept yourself, no matter how long that takes. It's like you say, normal is all about perspective, and I think it's hard for even able-bodied people to accept that. So it's almost like it's twice as hard for people in the disabled community. But it really is a beautiful thing when you can accept your flaws and realize you're a beautiful person no matter what your abilities are, and it's quite good. Who are some of the people that helped throughout your life for you to stay positive and achieve your goals?
My parents, helped me quite a lot because, I happen to be the only person with disability in my entire family. So what happened with me, they didn't treat me differently, not even treat me special, like, oh, our poor kid can't do this, can't do that. They sort of put me out there in the world as much as I couldn't understand why people were staring at me, but not for a moment they were like, you cannot go and play out there because people are looking at you differently. So my parents, yeah, I just give that to them because they put me out there in the world. They didn't hide me, they didn't deny me opportunities. So I appreciate them for actually giving me an opportunity of life because, back then, a lot of parents used to be ashamed for having, kids with disabilities, and they denied them so many opportunities. But my parents, they've been, my superheroes because they just sort of put me out there in the world and let me be me.
Definitely, yeah. That sounds like two phenomenal parents. And that's so important in life to have a friendship and guardianship in your parents because it's just so important. My parents as well just always supported me and never, just because you're in a wheelchair doesn't mean you can't be successful like everybody else. So that's just it. And so for my viewers, KG, you're a wheelchair tennis player, which your journey is a little different than most. You actually only started when you were 19, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So, and you actually made it to rank number 5 in the world at one point, and right now you're 9. So you've held that top 10 pretty consistently. Can you just talk about your journey into the sport of tennis?
Yeah, when I started playing tennis, I was at my final year of high school. So that's when tennis came. But I've always been that kid who loved playing sport because I was playing table tennis and wheelchair basketball. So when tennis came, I was on my final year of high school. I didn't want to play it because there was just too much work. You have to study because next year you want to go to university and stuff like that. So when they approached me, I wasn't so interested, but they insisted, that you have to go and represent our school. So I just went, and when I got there, seeing other kids playing so well, for me it was first time I saw wheelchair tennis, and I was so fascinated. It was just like sitting in the corner, watching coaches and players, and I've always been competitive. The minute I got an opportunity to put the racket on hand, I mean, I don't recall much, but I just started playing. I just started figuring the sport out because I remember I used to use both hands. I would serve with my right hand because everyone was serving with the right hand. I was changing rackets, hitting the forehand with my left hand. I was playing a double hand backhand because a lot of coaches they were doing that, and I couldn't understand why other players were not following the instructions. But I didn't realize how different it was for someone who's standing and for someone who's sitting, that they don't actually play, similar. So I had to figure it out that way. And when I went to university the following year, wheelchair tennis, it was the only disability sport that was active at that particular university. And I loved playing sport. I just sort of, went with it. And I didn't even know you can, take it up as a career. So it was a hobby for me. When I got to university, I was like, oh, something to do after classes, happy to do it. So that's how it all started. But, when I was approaching my final year, they had to convince me, like, try it out. If you don't like it, you can just stop. But then I started to like it more, the challenge, had to read more about it. And I found it fascinating. And that's how I just sort of just like stuck into the sport and started working hard. And yeah, you're right. At some point, found myself at number 5. I thought, wow, this is awesome. Found myself at Paralympics, and it was just awesome, man. And I just started loving it. And I didn't know as you improve, it even gets tougher. So it's been a very crazy learning journey for me, but I'm really enjoying it.
Definitely, yeah. No, I've watched some of your clips, and you just seem so intense and so into it. And I love all sports, and I am so fascinated in the process that it takes to get there. And it is so much work. Like you hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, athletes make too much money." Well, you realize it's their whole life, and you literally have to be 100% dedicated, or else you're basically going nowhere. And so what are some of the lessons that tennis has taught you?
Look, you need to be mentally sharp. You need to take care of your mind because tennis it's a mind game. Even what happens in your daily life can affect you in the game of tennis. How you make decisions in your daily life can affect you how you make decisions on court. So what I found fascinating is that how it's so related with, your personality, your character, what you do outside on the outside world and what you do on court. So I found that really, really, really fascinating. And I found that actually really demanding you to be mentally sharp. So you really, really need to take care of the mind, that, how to deal with your worries, because that's one thing that will help you also in your game of tennis. If you can really manage your life really well, that can actually do a lot more to your game. So I found it mentally fascinating for me because it really really it's really really mentally demanding. And for me, I just used to play for fun, and now it's like I need to get things in a great perspective for me to be able to execute them really well. So I really think it needs a sharp mind.
Definitely, and then it's a one person sport, so you definitely got to be on your game, or else again you're not gonna do much, and you just got to be sharp. I like that term that you use, is mentally sharp, because got to be ready at all times. And I've read articles about you saying that Roger Federer and Serena Williams were two of the top players that you watched and took notes. And what fascinates you about their game? Just maybe give a few about Roger Federer and a few about Serena that is really interesting to you.
What I like about Roger, he seems like a very chilled player. It's like he's not going through the emotions of the game. I just don't know how he handled all that. you never see him bursting in anger, or he never shows any emotions, but he's still a great player. And you have a player like Serena who shows every single emotions, you know, how she celebrates, how she gets frustrated, and the energy. And I look at Federer, not that he doesn't have energy, he's so chilled, but he still win matches. And I look at Serena, so energetic, so expressive, and she's still a great player. And for me, it actually taught me that you can be either one of them, but still be the greatest player. Because you find a lot of coaches be like, oh, look at Nadal, look at Serena, you need that fire. But I look at Federer and I'm like, you know, we are all different as players. You got to allow yourself be your own player, you know. So, but what I found fascinating about them, they're two different, you know, players, but they are so great in their own element. So, I think that's what I like the most about them and the sport.
Yeah, Roger, well, Serena too, but the both of them, like throughout my entire life, they've always been on, and like obviously they're the ones on TV when they're playing, and it's just Serena gets so into it. She's straight fire. Like she gets so mad but so excited, and she's able to manage it without throwing it off her game. And then Roger, he's just like you say, he's so cool. It's like, is there a brain in there? Like, are you a robot or what? Like, it's definitely fascinating. So, just moving on, in the Paralympics live, you said you want to be on the podium in the Paralympics next year, but is there any other goals in mind right now for you that you're really trying to get to in the next year?
Yeah, most definitely. I still need to win a major. I still need to win a Grand Slam. You know, that's actually my end goal. Whatever slam that I will win, I'll be happy. I think, yeah, that will be one achievement that I don't know, that I will cherish for the rest of my career. So winning a slam is just, it's just my end goal, you know. That's one of my goals that I want to achieve. Besides, you know, finishing at the podium at Paralympics, I need to win a measure. I know it. Yeah, I need to win a slam. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I hope you get there, and I'll definitely be watching you in the Paralympics. That should be really good. I love the Paralympics. It's such an amazing spectacle of sport, and it really shows, like you were saying earlier, is disabled people can compete too, and we're actually pretty good at what we do. So they definitely deserve the limelight, and the Olympics and the Paralympics are two of my favorite sporting events, and I hate waiting 4 years every time because it's so fun to watch. So I have a segment here that I call Rapid Fire, where I ask my guests a few random questions about themselves just to know you a little bit better. So to start off, who would your favorite person from South Africa be?
I would say my sister. My sister is my favorite. She makes me laugh. Her name is Masesi. So so
Awesome. Awesome. I like that. I like that. I've got a sister too, and she means the world to me too. So it's siblings are great to have. What is your favorite thing to eat?
woo, we got something called pap. It's like made out of maize. It's some sort of our staple food. Yo, I mean that thing. It's, yeah. If it goes together with the meat and gravy, so simple. It's very nice. That's my favorite thing to eat.
Awesome. That's definitely a new one. I like that. I'll have to look that up. So when you're training or getting ready for a match, is there any music that you like to listen to when you're getting ready for that or training?
Yeah, most definitely. I do listen to quite a lot of hip hop, you know, American hip hop. So yeah, and my favorite song, I mean, you know, I'm the one, DJ Khaled is still from I think 2018. I still jam for that. I just like the birds in the song, you know, it actually pumps me up. So hip hop music, it's my thing.
Definitely. That's a lot of athletes. It's so well, it's straight from the heart too. A lot of rappers and hip hop artists are very, very emotional, and I like that about that as well. It's their lyrics definitely hit home for a lot of people. My other question, I was just curious about this. If you didn't play wheelchair tennis, what would your dream job be?
Maybe IT technician. I think so.
It's good to be good with computers. I like that. That's all right.
Yeah.
And last question of the rapid fire. If you could be anybody living or dead for 24 hours, who would you choose?
Ooh.
That's a hard one, I know.
Yeah. But you know what? I would want to be Nelson Mandela for 24 hours. Yeah.
Yes, Madiba. He is one of my favorite humans to ever grace this planet. He was such a beautiful man, and he's definitely up there for all the South Africans. What a beautiful person too, eh? Like just a beautiful man. Absolutely, I love that. That's a great answer. I've always looked up to him. That's awesome. So just getting back into the questions here a bit. What are some of the top charities that you support or mean a lot to you?
I'm just because I told you, remember I told you I'm from the rural areas. So I sort of have something, some sort of a foundation, just trying to give back facilities where I come from, like the school where I started, there was no sporting facilities, no tennis court, no netball court. So that's where I started, having to, make noise about it, and we're able to, get a tennis court. And early this year, we're able to donate rackets, tennis balls, So it's just bit by bit, because with my tennis career, I'm always away. So I'm not normally around to be hands on and actually like do stuff. But I'm also like passionate about stuff like that, because I know where I come from, there's no facilities. So, and I would love to see like in the future having, facilities like tennis courts, and having to, get kids to play at an early age. And yeah, that they don't have to think they need to go to the city to get all those facilities. So erecting facilities is just one of the things that I like doing with my foundation. And I'm just hoping, when times goes by, I'll be able to be really hands-on and start looking for funding, and so that we can do more.
Awesome, great to hear. I'd love if you sent me some more info on that. I'd love to make a donation to that. That sounds awesome.
Awesome. I'll do that. I'll do that, man.
Awesome for sure. And that's an awesome cause. So just to wrap up, for any disabled, mostly kids, but really any adults either, what advice would you give to a disabled person looking to take up a sport or go into a sport?
I would like them to know that they are capable. They are very much capable. They just need to put themselves out there and give it a try, you know? Because I would like to believe we all have abilities as individuals. Doesn't matter disabled or able, we all have abilities. So you are capable, put yourself out there, try new things, and see how you feel about it, and never give up.
Definitely. I love that. Well, KG, that's about all I have for you today. Thank you so much again for doing this. It was awesome to have a little chat for you, and good luck at Roland Garros coming up, and good luck at next year's Paralympics. I'll definitely be watching for you for sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man.
All right, this was awesome, KG. Take care. You have yourself a good night, and I'll send you a link out when it's posted.
All right. Cheers.
Awesome. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.